Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I will highlight a few points which I made in my statement to the IAEA Board of Governors this morning. This month, we concluded our first ever international conference on the IAEA Technical Cooperation Program. It was very successful in helping to make member states and global development partners more aware of the work of the agency. The main focus of IAEA spending on technical cooperation last year was on health and nutrition, nuclear safety, and food and agriculture. I updated the board on our work to modernize the IAEA Nuclear Applications Laboratory in Cyberstorf. Construction is proceeding on schedule and within budget. As far as nuclear energy is concerned, I noted that installed nuclear capacity in the world is now the highest that it has ever been at 392 megawatts electrical. 20 new reactors were connected to the grid in the last 2 years, the highest number since the 1980s. The IAEA LEU Bank project in Kazakhstan continues to make good progress. I plan to attend the inauguration ceremony for the storage facility on August 29th. Ladies and gentlemen, the agency is verifying and monitoring Iran's implementation of all its nuclear-related commitments under the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. We are doing this in accordance with the modalities set out in the JCPOA, consistent with the agency's standard safeguard practices and in an impartial and objective manner. I remain seriously concerned about the nuclear program of North Korea. It is deeply regrettable that DPRK continues to show no sign that it is willing to comply with relevant UN Security Council resolutions. I again call upon the DPRK to comply fully with its obligations. I intend to enhance the agency's readiness to play an essential role in verifying the DPRK's nuclear program and will update the board in due course. I expressed a hope that this board would reach consensus on the agency's program and budget for 2018-2019 and on targets for the Technical Cooperation Fund. Finally, I informed the board that this year's IAEA Scientific Forum will be entitled Nuclear Techniques for Human Health, Prevention, Diagnosis, and Treatment. It will take place here in Vienna on September 19th and 20th. I invite you all to attend. Now, I'll be happy to take your questions.
Director General, over here. Hi. In your opening remarks, François Murphy from Reuters, beg your pardon. In your opening remarks, you said that you intend to enhance the agency's readiness to play an essential role in verifying the DPRK's nuclear program. Could you tell us what you mean specifically by that? It seems quite vague. And also, do you have any indication of when these 20 tons of heavy water are going to be shipped out of Iran and where?
Last year, the DPRK conducted 2 tests on nuclear explosive devices. They launched many missiles. And the nature of the threat has become a different stage. Therefore, we need to intensify our analytical work in order to maintain and strengthen our knowledge. We also need to keep updating our plan to return to the DPRK should the opportunity arise. Heavy water?
Sure.
Heavy water, your question is when?
Well, when, and also it wasn't specified where. I mean, I assume it's Oman, but it'd be nice to know.
First, I cannot tell where, but the shipping out of 20 tons of heavy water will take place in the near future, as we understand it.
My name is Ken Udagawa from Kyodo News. I have two following questions about the DPRK and also the nuclear ban treaty negotiation, both you mentioned. And first question, DPRK. Follow-up question is to enhance the readiness. Do you mean that, for example, the training or special training or set up a team and also, for example, do simulating work or something like that? And second question is about the nuclear ban treaty negotiation. And you said in the statement you plan to respond to the president of the conference. And do you have do you plan? Will you give a positive response? And if it is, then what role can you play in the negotiation process? For example, the verification system is a very difficult issue in this term, and IAEA can IAEA contribute to something to that?
Well, regarding the first question on DPLK, I understand your question is about the enhancing the capability, including training. And we are going to intensify our analytical work in order to maintain and to strengthen our knowledge. So it is related to knowledge management, and training could include. But as I said, this is an ongoing process, and it is we are now considering it, and we stated that we are going to do it, and we'll update the board. So we have not yet finalized our plan. We are also trying to keep updating our plan to return to the DPLK in order that we can go back to DPLK when quickly should the opportunity arise. For the ban treaty, I said I will respond to the president of the conference after the June Board of Governors, considering all relevant factors. It means that I have not yet decided. I have not yet decided anything, and I do not prejudge what will be my decision. For now, nothing is decided.
Hello, question from here, Nippon Television Network. I have also two follow-up questions, one on DPRK and then the second one on the ban treaty. On the DPRK, at the Iran's, in order to better tackle the Iran issue, you created a task force. Do you foresee creating such a team within the organization? And also, you mentioned about improving the analytics. Does this mean that you're going to spend more money on the satellite purchase, or are you going to hire some specialists? Can you just elaborate a little bit more on this one? And shall I stop here for the second question?
No, please go.
Okay.
Go ahead.
And then for the second one, you said that you have to consider all elements before you decide. Can you name some of the elements that you would like to consider before you make up your decisions? Just as elements, yes. Thank you.
Okay. Regarding the first question, if we establish something like Iran or whether we buy satellite imagery, I think we are rushing too much. The current situation is that North Korea is launching missiles. There is some danger of another nuclear test, and situation is very tense. And we are not in a situation that we can hope to send back our inspectors that quickly. So what we said is to prepare for the future should the opportunity arise. So it is too early to say whether we establish something like Iran or what type of material we buy, or so all of these are a little bit premature. What I said is that in light of the change of the nature of the threat and increasing of tension, we need to get prepared for. We need to get better prepared, and for that we need to intensify our analytical work. That is what we are considering, and I say considering, and it is still ongoing, and we'll update when we have more concrete ideas. All factors, nothing has been decided, and we don't have. I don't have any decision ready yet. So this is something we need to see. What factors are to consider is also something that we have to consider. But you asked me to give you one example. So if the member states express their views in the Board of Governors, certainly I need to listen to them.
Sir, over here. Albert Otti, DPA, Chairman Press Agency. Could you, on North Korea, could you tell us the status quo? How many people, how many analysts are currently working on North Korea, and how many safeguards monitors are maybe on the roster that could go out if there was an opportunity to return? It's
difficult to say how many because we are working people, but we have other people who are working part-time, or there are coordination. So it is not possible to give you how many people are working. But what I can say is that even after April 2009, when our inspectors were asked to leave the country, we wanted to maintain the capability, and we are doing it. And it is done in the agency, in the safeguard department, but it is difficult to say how many people are there.
Wang from Xinhua News Agency, Ms. DG. You just made some remarks over DPRK, and you said you will intensify the work, your maybe your analysis or any other works over this DPRK issue. So, do you mean you got some positive sign from the international community that DPRK might be able to accept this IAEA's nuclear inspection, or you see some positive sign from DPRK's
I don't
side?
mean that I have got any indication. We have not got any indication. That is why I said, should the opportunity arise, and should the opportunity arise means we don't know yet. Not now, but in light of the tension, we need to strengthen our analytical capability, and we need to update on our plan. It does not mean that I'm anticipating the change of situation soon. We are not speculating the situation, but I cannot control the situation. I cannot control other countries. But we can control ourselves, and we are preparing, and we are intensifying our analytical work.
Another question is, sorry. Now, DPRK is not a member of IAEA anymore, but do you still have any connection or any information exchange from DPRK? I mean, any, even a little bit?
It is not non-existent.
Okay, thanks.
Yes. Oh, yes, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Director General. This is Babak Jafari from Iranian news agency, IRNA. Your Excellency, in different occasions and in different reports, you have clearly stated that there is no undeclared material or nuclear activities in Iran. And yet, in every occasion, you say something like this, quote, "Evaluations regarding the absence of undeclared nuclear material and activities in Iran remain ongoing." Don't you think that this kind of language may signal some kind of suspicion towards Iran? And of course, you say this is a kind of professional reporting, but don't you think that this may, violate the agency's impartiality by giving some media to show a dark image of Iran? Thank you.
It is a complete misunderstanding. What I said is that I can tell that the nuclear material and facility placed under the IAEA safeguard remain in peaceful purpose. But verification work continues, and we need to assess it. So we can tell that the material and facilities under safeguard is fine. We can say it is for peaceful purpose. But for other things, we don't know yet, and we need to continue to verify. So it is not painting Iran black. It is the very honest statement of what we know. And it will take time to have a clearer view.
So you mentioned for other things. So there is no other things other than declared things. This kind of language may signal
Other
that there might be some other undeclared things.
I said nuclear material and facilities.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, Mr. Amano, Jonathan Tyrone with Bloomberg. I noted that you also told the board the information in non-English languages has been expanding on the website. We've also noted that some information of historical nature has been removed from the website or has been changed on the website. And I'm curious what the IAEA's policy is about protecting the integrity of historical information on its website. How is that information managed for the historical record?
Yes. I think you are referring to the information related to technical cooperation and others.
That's part of it, but there's also been press releases that have been removed, and there's been some changes to Director General statements that have been released in the past.
It is true that we have retrieved some information in the past. That is because the IT system supporting the website is becoming obsolete, and IT security is getting weaker. Therefore, last year, we replaced the system, and now we are resuming to upload the information related, for example, to technical cooperation gradually. But there are still thousands of pages that we need to work. We are gradually doing that. If you limit to the computer website information, that is the case. But if you are interested in the technical cooperation information, you can still find the information in the technical cooperation report and its supplement. We are now working to provide information in other languages than English, and we are working on that.
Thank you.
Director General, this is Ken Obara from NHK. I have two questions that follows up my Japanese colleagues. When you mention about intensifying your analytical skill, I would say, abilities is it more so analytical abilities intensifying for working remotely in the current situation, or is it more so thinking about intensifying your skills and technology in the case that you would be going into North Korea? I just wanted to make it clear on what kind of, where the intensify is actually put upon, I guess.
As you know, we do not have the inspectors on the ground since April 2009, and we are collecting information through other means. Through other means means to collect information through satellite imagery from open source information and trade information. We are trying to intensify our analytical work in all of these areas.
It's a follow-up. So my perception was you already have been maximizing that analytical skills as much as possible. Could you elaborate a little bit more which part that you could intensify? Because I think IAEA giving out a message about intensifying analytical skills is very newsworthy, but I just wanted to clarify what are the things that could be intensified?
This is some other process, ongoing process. So we don't have the final conclusion, and we are going to update the board. But if I give you one example, one of the areas that we are strengthening our function is the coordination function.
Coordination as in?
Coordination function in the safeguard department and with other department.
Oh, okay. If I'm sorry, just the last question. You also mentioned about the ban treaty. You also indicated about talking to the member states or listening to the member states. Does that include the nuclear states that are actually very much opposing to the ban treaty?
We have 168 member states, and I am listening to the views from all the countries if they express their views.
Simon Study, AFP. The idea to strengthen your analytical capabilities on DPRK, was this an idea that came from organically within the agency, or were you requested to do so by another country? USA,
By no
Japan?
means. It is our own initiative. We are not asked by other organizations or other countries. We are doing it under our own initiative.
I have follow-up questions about DPRK and also nuclear ban treaty and about the intensified analytical work. And there is aim to for example, specify where to inspect or what to inspect if you can go to IAEA can go to North Korea. And second question is, ban treaty is, for example, all factors you mentioned about. And one of the factor is, for example, that is the issue in the negotiation, not in the negotiation, but for example, NPT PrepCom is also issue that if whether the nuclear ban treaty is conform with or consistent with NPT, because IAEA is under the framework of the NPT.
Second question is first. I would like to start to answer the second question. The IAEA is not a party to the NPT, so we do not interpret NPT, and we do not have that function of interpreting the NPT. On the first question, again, you are rushing too much, and the situation is very difficult. And there were nuclear tests, and launches of missiles are taking place very frequently. And in light of the change of the nature of the threat, we feel the need to strengthen our analytical work. So it is far from to identifying where to go. We are not at that stage yet.
Take one more question.
Just to wrap up the analytical enhancement for DPRK, where are you getting the budget? Will there be new budget allocated to enhance that analytical capability? If it's not new budget, are you going to allocate budget from different safeguards areas to the DPRK?
There is a small increase of the budget, but in reality, we are strengthening our capability by improving the coordination function and, in the safeguard department and with other departments.
So thank you very much for coming. The board will resume at 3 o'clock.
Thank you very much.